welcome to Value Open Source, the podcast about open source and other things.
And value.
And value. This is our second episode, and I'm very happy to host today Ido Tzang.
Hi.
Ido is an R&D management mentor with 20 years of experience in software, engineering, and product. And he's currently the innovation engineer at Taboola.
Right, as well as some other things, but yeah,
Okay.
that's some part of my time, yeah.
So can you tell us just a bit about yourself, apart from my introduction?
So yeah, I'm more than 40 years old. I have more than one kid, but less than three, and just one wife, though.
Spoken like a true developer.
Yeah. I've been doing software for like 25 years, if you include some high school stuff, but somewhat like 25 years. And I've been gradually moving and understanding that software, while it's interesting and it's sometimes, does it for me. It's cool. Yeah, I managed to build that and do that, and I can do whatever I want with my whatever iPhone or whatever. I've been gradually throughout the years moving to an understanding that it's not my main passion, and making people around me do great stuff and maximize their potential with software usually, because that's my comfort area. That's what I really like and enjoy doing, and apparently do somewhat well. So it's been kind of management and leading people, even not as manager, to build and to organize their lives and their work mainly.
Okay. And we'll talk about this in length in a few minutes. So can you tell me, just to get into the open source perspective, how did you first become involved with open source or with the open source principles?
I remember vividly. My first software years were in the Army. 90s, Army, very closed environment, mostly Microsoft. I didn't know there's something other than Visual Basic back then. And there's no real internet and Stack Overflow and, so it's you in your head and maybe the guy next to you, and that's it. And then I finished that and I started working in just a public commercial company, and oh my God, I mean, I don't have to, and I moved to Java, but I don't have to take IBM or whatever server. There's this thing called Tomcat, Apache Tomcat.
Which was new at the time.
It does the same thing as these huge projects do. It doesn't cost less, it costs nothing.
Yeah.
I have the code, I can debug, I can extend it. Oh my God, how is it possible? How do I have free software, which is on par, if not better than,
So that's the holy shit moment.
Yeah. I was 25 or so. How does it happen? Who does it? Like, who works 10 hours a day and then goes and builds this great software?
For free.
Yeah, for free, or can I do it as well? Am I good enough? Blah, blah, blah. It was like years of that.
Okay. And did you have like an opportunity to work on open source projects, or just...
Not really. I mean, I really wanted to. It wasn't Git pull back then, but whatever it was, I took some code from, I think it was some Apache project, Tomcat, or some other Java framework. I took it, I look at the task, will I take it, will I not take it, am I good enough, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Eventually, I did not contribute the code, but I was just on the verge. I felt like it was something good to do, to give to the world. And apparently, I was not good enough at the time.
Well, you've done great other things. So we usually talk here about open source in the sense of writing code or developing software, but it sometimes extends beyond that. And I wanted to ask you, as a person who does this a lot, how are the principles of open source applied in other aspects of organizational culture?
That's a very good question, and like an easy answer, I think, today with... people talk about lean development and agile, and all these things are, when you look at it from an open source perspective, like you said, you can say we're trying to mirror open source ecosystems within teams and companies. Because if I go home at 6 p.m., 8 p.m., and then I go to my computer and I contribute to my project, and you do the same half a world away, there's no manager telling us what to do. No one is forcing us to write the code this way or that way or to refactor, or we're just giving whatever we have into the project, and 10 or 100 more people do the same, and it becomes a great project maybe.
Yeah.
What if we could do that in the business world, right? What if we didn't have to tell people what to do, and instead of one manager making decision, 10 people collaborate into making a decision, the better decision, the best decision. So organization, I see organizations move there continuously, trying to be, less political, less top-down, more giving those millennials the self-expressions they all need. And guys, you decide what you want to do. There's the famous, at Google, you get 20% of your time to do whatever you want. Yeah. At Taboola, there's no 20%, but I get asked all the time, do you want to participate in this? Do you want to participate in that? Not by my manager, by peers who appreciate me in a way or want me in a way and trying to get me to work on their internal tool or project. Maybe it's already been approved by management, maybe not.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
So it's basically like a decentralized way of working.
Yeah, it's a decentralized. It's striking the balance because it's a commercial, it's a business.
Yeah.
It needs to eventually make money for the shareholders or whatever.
Yeah.
But let's balance this capitalist approach with doing good for the employees, the world, and finding the balance. So it's not, everyone does what they want. There are tasks and there are features and there are customers and all that. But it's balancing it with, I think I know the answer and I don't want to wait for 3 committees, 2 managers, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I just want to try and do it. And maybe I'll succeed, maybe I fail. And if I'm good at it, maybe I'll succeed more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of unleashing everyone's power onto the world, to our business world.
Yeah, and I think that some of the great things about open source, like the many eyeballs theory and the many brains theory, that the more eyeballs see the code, less likely that you'll have bugs or critical issues. I think that applies here as well.
Yeah, again, like I said before, on the code level and also on the ideation level, process level, and in the business level. By the way, there's a short story, there's a famous Netflix example. Netflix are well known of being one of, if not the largest AWS customer. They pay millions and millions.
They have a few instances.
In cloud computers, yeah. I think they show some TV.
Yeah.
And they are known for inventing a thing called chaos engineering. Like if we take our systems down all the time in unexpected ways, and of course build those systems to be ready for that, then our systems will be stable. And they kind of pushed AWS to the edge and brought requirements to AWS. You need to fix this, to fix that. And then they took this component, which does the chaos, they call it Chaos Monkey, and released it as open source.
Really?
And now everyone can use Chaos Monkey and easily create chaos and force AWS to improve their platform. So Netflix, as an AWS customer, forced AWS to improve the platform by releasing something to open source.
Awesome example.
It's a business level. It happens on the business level as well.
How do you think that companies that want to adopt the open source principle you mentioned, how do you think they can benefit from implementing it?
How do you think? The benefits, I think, are like we said before. I mean, you recruit the best people around, right? Maybe you're local, you do it at, I don't know where, in the Valley or in Israel. Maybe you're global, you do it wherever. You recruit the best people around. You invest a lot of money and energy in having the best team. I think a bigger challenge or a more up-to-date challenge is, what do you make of that team? How do you unleash the power of these individuals and that team to be great?
Yeah.
And by letting people again say, okay, I believe this is important. I believe this is the solution to that problem. I believe this is what we need to do, and letting them do it in a rather easy way. Again, not chaos, not do whatever you want. Yeah. Maybe someone knows better, or someone knows another perspective in your organization, and you better hear it before you run. But by decentralizing, you can benefit, a lot. The challenge is, of course, to find the balance. But I find that at the very even low level or team level, when I go into one of my workshops with a team or with a management team, let's say all the directors in the company or in the engineering team, and we work on collaboration within that team. Very basic things, like you bring up an idea, how we interact to not shut you down.
Yeah.
So we don't lose the idea and we don't lose you. Because sometimes when people get shut down, they're okay. Then I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking in this meeting again. Yeah. And if it happens 5 times, then I'm not speaking ever again. So we don't want to lose the idea and you. So brainstorming, or what happens when we fail? What happens when there's a production issue? How do we react? How do we, as managers, what do we teach? Everyone to what's the culture? What we do? Do we blame? Do we ignore? Or do we grow and so these workshops start off by I try to take people to I would say more non-business atmosphere, kind of softening things up, letting them see how in a non-business environment, if someone throws that silly idea at you, you can play with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, if only we could go to the moon, then we'd be rich. Blah blah blah. You could have where in work, if someone said something silly about the next thing you need to do with your product, no.
Yeah.
No. What happens if you let these worlds meet much more? What happens if you say yes more?
So
for example,
let people fly with their ideas.
To your employees, to your colleagues, to whoever. Again, you need to be able to say the no, or to understand together that if it's a definite yes but what happens if we delay the no for a few moments?
Okay.
These kind of things, and a very basic level of interaction grows to become, okay, so I'm not being shut down. I'm even given time to work on that. Interesting. That's a place I want to work for. A. Yeah. B, maybe hopefully I have positive impact on the company. Nice. I don't have to be a manager, a top manager to have positive impact. So I'm happy. I've brought impact. So you're happy. The company's happy. Yeah. This is kind of what I'm trying to do.
That's great. And that's very similar to what happens in real live open source projects, when everybody contributes and everybody gives their ideas. And
again,
I think more brains, more ideas, more innovation. I think it's easier to innovate. So that's a cool approach.
And obviously it goes hand in hand, with okay, so I got approval. I'll work on that for a week, for some time. Obviously, I will not get an open check for 2 years.
Yeah.
Show us something next month.
Probably.
So incremental and again lean. It all goes together. It doesn't make sense to work for 2 years and then go to the customers in such an environment. Is work for 2 weeks or a month and show me what you have, and then I'll give you the next guy to help you.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I agree. And can you share some real life experiences from your experience when you applied these principles? And
in the previous company I worked for, my last role, I was a product manager, and it was a security company, and security is a tough business. Forget the business aspect. It's a tough technology space to be in. It's those bad guys always have the motivations.
Yeah.
Wherever there's money, people will
hackers.
put in money and energy to get it.
Yeah.
So you have to be very creative and very smart, whatever that means, to tackle that. And I've been working with, as a product manager, I've been working with obviously customers, but internally, I'm working with engineering on one side and a security research team on the other side. I mean, 2 sides of research and development teams, two angles. And we were like, okay, so we need to solve this problem. Now what? I mean, I don't have a solution. It's not it's not a business question.
Yeah.
The business question is we need to solve it.
Yeah. The business question is clear, but the technical question
and then you guys, I mean, you need to talk. I mean, you need to work it out. I mean, so the security guys had crazy ideas, which the technology guys said, what? We can't do that. I mean, it's not feasible. And these guys had to put their heads together with me, but without me I was not the leader of the meeting. I was not the manager. I was not really the manager. and once I feel that I gave them the context. Guys, this is the customers, this is the problem. A real story. I brought in the customer even, and let go. I really don't know the solution, and that now you guys need to, even though you report to different people, three levels up. You're different organizations. You need to be in the same room and talk about the same things and come up with with a joint list. Not he thinks A and I think B and Ido decide. No,
like a joint effort.
You need to decide together what you're going to research and what you're going to build, and it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you train people to do that, yeah.
Okay, because in a lot of very vertical companies, that's very difficult to do because you have like different teams. Everybody wants to get credit.
Right.
Things are there's like a strict meritocracy.
Yeah, it's a matter of another angle to look at it. It's a matter of what behavior do you promote and
Encourage.
Exactly. Thanks. And how? If you encourage, like if you encourage some behavior by promoting someone, then you have a hierarchical political organization, right?
Yeah.
Because, okay, I want to be him, and there's 10 of us, only one will be him.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to be him? No. So it's what you opt for and what you.
Okay. And have you seen opposition from management to adopting like
Of
open
course.
source principles?
Yeah, I'm the manager. They pay me. I get paid more for a reason, right? I need to decide. That's a classic, like factory floor. You're the guy creating the bumpers for the cars. I'm the like they say about our schools these days, right?
Yeah.
Which they created in the industrial age, and so similar things. Like what? No, he's an engineer. He's a good engineer, but he just left school. I'm not going to let him waste his time on X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But when these managers enter these workshops I mentioned before, and probably with more so with peers than with their employees, but when they enter with like a group of directors or some level like that, and they see the interaction between them and how much they flourish when they get good feedback and good vibes from their peers instead of being political and these kind of things, it clicks in a matter of hour or two. It clicks. Ooh, interesting. Now in the workshop, I really had fun with him. We had a good time and we clicked about ideas, even when we made it somewhat business, not just outside of the business. Wonder if I could do it in real life. Can I do it? Okay, no. You guys, you now have a task for next week. Let's talk about it in the next workshop. How did you do in the weekly meeting with the boss when you try to be together and not opposed?
Okay. And let's say we have like viewers who come from organizations and they want to start adopting like an open source approach to development, like an open source approach to organizational culture.
Yeah.
How would you recommend an organization to start adopting or to start implementing these principles in their daily work?
That's a good question. First of all, there's a whole bunch of online resources. If you just we can add like to the show notes.
Yeah, we'll add a few links to that.
Yeah, there's a couple of podcasts I listened to and books I read or know of the authors.
But let's say like as an overview, like what are the key factors you would recommend or key processes you would recommend to adopt these principles? So
again, I would focus on putting much attention on what behavior we encourage and benefit, and that's one. What behavior we encourage and benefit, and second is going down to very specific levels, like a team or two teams that work a lot together but are separate organizationally, and putting them in the same room, and not to argue about the problems or all these we used to have interface talks.
Yeah.
You say what you expect from me, I say no, not that. Take the business aspects off for an hour or two or three. Probably you need an external help for that, and just be people.
Yeah.
And again, not in the level of go drink beer. That's great. That's also great. But be civil and learn how to listen to each other and respect each other's ideas and all that. Do that usually off work, like in an off context environment, not talking about the next project or the next milestone. And then gradually wear on the mask of, okay, now we're in business. We're still allowed to laugh and love each other, even though we're report to different people who maybe whatever. We're still allowed to interact and be good with each other. And now let's try to do business. By the way, works also with customers. Like if I'm a product manager, you're a customer, I can do that. I can team up with you despite the fact that we're in different companies.
Yeah, despite the fact we have different interests.
Yeah, and obviously different interests. So promote the culture, the behavior you want, and go deep and specific. Go to a specific team, 2 teams, 3 teams, and try to make change from there.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a difficult change to make to an entire organization.
Right. It's not. Yeah,
I mean, to propagate slowly.
Right. So in a way, if it's a big organization, like I don't know, more than 100 or 200 engineers, not maybe big Israeli, but not necessarily
medium
big.
size.
Yeah, medium or more. Then you probably need something at the top, right? You need some buy-in from VP or director level, usually with human resources. You need some buy-in up there, but get the buy-in there, and don't then expect to go one tier down forever. No, get the buy-in and then go specific.
I see.
And then learn from the example, and let people learn from the example.
Okay, that's good advice. Do you see that from your experience this approach works and you see that results are improving when doing this?
Like a charm. I mean, we talk about customer experience, like we, in terms of the industry, talks about customer experience and employee experience. How customers feel about my business, how employees feel about my business. And I found that this seems to focus on employee experience, what I'm talking about, but it influences customer experience so fast. Engaged employees build better product. Engaged employees talk to customers, nicer.
Yeah.
More professionally, but even nicer. And so on and so forth. So yes, definitely.
Okay. Interesting. So now on a more, we usually end up the podcast on a more personal note. So just about to hear about you. How do you keep, as a developer or as a manager, how do you keep learning and developing yourself?
Podcasts mainly. I mean,
this one as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's more convenient for me to listen because when I drive. So yeah, I just find my categories, and usually they kind of point to each other, even if not specifically. I mean, it's not hard to start with one. I like it. Okay, but here's the next one, and so on. About management, about teamwork, there's a bunch. That's the main thing. And I don't know how much time we have, but all this gradual understanding I described before about software, people, and me and my process. It's took off real fast when I started doing improvisational theater.
Really?
Yeah. That's when you get really, that's when you need teamwork the most. You're on stage, nothing is planned, and you and your 3, 4, 5 colleagues are all scared to death. I mean, the tomatoes may come any minute, any second, and you need to make something out of something.
Yeah.
And then someone comes says something or does, I don't know, start digging, whatever comes to his mind or body. And you as an improviser next to him have to, in a split second, stop thinking about, okay, what is my idea? What am I bring? No, he decided, okay, I'm with him. You're digging, okay, gold, hey, we found gold. And something starts to happen, and it's so stressful. You practice on it, so it's less, but it's so stressful and so fulfilling to see how teamwork, just teamwork. You don't have to be a stand-up comedian for that. It's not that. It's just teamwork and trust within the team. How far along it can get you.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Actually, it seems like improvisational theater is a bit like open source. It's like a joint effort of a few people working together, and nothing is preset. Nobody tells you what to do. Mm-hmm. You just improvise.
I heard a guy, sadly I can't credit him, say that improvisational theater is like business strategy.
Really?
It's how you react to an unknown reality.
Interesting. Never thought about it like this.
In schools, I know in the U.S., in schools in the U.S., in Ivy League, in MBA degrees, they have business improv courses. Yeah.
Business improv, never heard of it.
It's shown to bring value to managers, to how you work with people, how you manage your company. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. And usually we end up with this. We end up with a small questionnaire, which we will ask in a minute. Ooh. But how do you see the future of open source? If we'll just go back to the open source issue.
On the on the open source software level, or that's a challenging question. I mean, again, as I said, my focus is not on software. Let me think. I know it's been. I mean, it's not news, but it's been going out of software, right? So you can buy an open source 3D printer, right? Not just the plans to print Iron Man are open source. The printer is open source. You go get these screws, and then the license for the printer is open source. So there's open source everything and anything, because again, for me, it goes back to like improvisation, to people communicating. So it's going to be everywhere. Like if I look at my happy ending for the world is that everything's open and everything's shared and everything. It's not just software. Obviously, again, there's balance here with economy and forces and all that. Not my expertise, but my fantasy is like for everything.
Utopian future.
Yeah, exactly. Utopian is the word I was missing. It's that I can get anything and everything. Maybe there's a better version or whatever, which is I pay for or whatnot. But yeah, I can make a living or make a life for myself with open source products, open source coffee. I don't know.
Well, it'll be an interesting future.
Yeah.
So we'll end up with the quiz that we ask all of our guests.
Oh my God.
No worries, it's pretty simple. Mac or PC?
PC.
All right.
I've been using Mac for 4 months and I still don't understand, why people.
Yeah, well, it's very.
Yeah, it's religious.
It's religious. Yeah, it's difficult to say. Browser of choice?
Chrome.
What IDE do you use when you code?
IntelliJ. It used to be Eclipse for many years. I mean, it's Eclipse when I make the choice, also free. And IntelliJ, for the companies I work for, it's usually IntelliJ.
Okay. GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab?
Bitbucket where I work. No preference. Okay. Otherwise.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Easy question. Easy. Wars.
Okay.
I mean, despite the recent 4 years.
Okay. Game of choice?
Tabletop role-playing games. That's the family. Game of choice within that family. To keep things simple, I would say Dungeon World.
So a D&D fan.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. And lastly, your top 3 open source projects, like your top 3 favorite projects.
Okay, good one. So the first one needs to be Apache Tomcat. From the story before, it's like, it's free and it's even better than the commercial. Has to be that. Second one, which is like the Apache Tomcat is my Sweet 16, is like my first. But the real love when I said, whoa, these guys are amazing. It's Spring. It's called Spring Framework. It's a Java framework. The guys came and looked at what Java was doing at the time and said, not good enough. We can do it better. Boom. And like did an amazing thing. Still today, I look at the code just to learn how to code.
Really?
Yeah. I really appreciate what they did there. Number 3, I have to get back to you on that.
All right. We'll add it in the comments.
Okay.
Okay, Ido, thank you. It was very interesting and enlightening.
It was great.
And it was fun having you.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.